breaking down the Vikings from the perspective of a former NFL General Manager of the Year. It's Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, presented by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
Welcome to Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday during the Viking season, except for next week, because we're going to be on Tuesday after the Vikings face the San Francisco 49ers on Monday night. And brought to you during the season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN and available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. I'm Jeff Diamond, former Vikings GM, former Tennessee Titans president. Our producer is AJ Fredrickson, does a fantastic job putting our show together, especially after victories, which was nice to get on Sunday in Soldier Field. And I'll start with this, AJ. There's no such thing as an ugly win in the NFL. You take them when you can get them. Now, perhaps the win in Chicago was not a pretty win because the offense was abysmal in the second half, as we saw, with only 58 yards of offense and going 0 for 6 on third down, putting more pressure on the defense. But fortunately, the defense delivered. So we'll say no ugly wins, not necessarily a pretty win, but an important win, their first NFC North game, and get them to 2-4 heading into this big Monday night game against San Francisco.
Yeah, if there's a time to get that kind of bounce back win, I know it's against a bad team, and a lot of people will argue, and I think maybe me included, that their two wins have come against possibly the two worst teams in the league. They're still wins. So you got to build on that, and now you can really go out for a big statement win this coming Monday. It's going to be prime time. It's against a 49ers team that a lot of people are talking about. We just talked about two kind of the bottom barrel teams. You're going to go play one of the top barrel teams now. So they're a little banged up, so it's one of those games where if you can squeak one out, whether it's pretty, ugly, or whatever, it's a statement win. Yeah,
definitely true. And the 49ers had their first loss of the season on Sunday in Cleveland, facing the number one defense in the league in the Browns, but they didn't face Deshaun Watson, faced P.J. Walker. So you figured San Francisco would cruise to a win. Didn't happen, and they actually came down to the final play, and their rookie kicker, Jake Moody, missed a 41-yard field goal that would have won it for the 49ers and kept them unbeaten. The other unbeaten team, Philadelphia, lost at the Jets, so no undefeated teams in the league left, and that makes Pete Rozelle happy because he loved parity. And so, as we said, the Vikings sit 2-4. I think the amazing thing is if you really study the standings, they're only one game out of a wild card spot at this point after 6 games, because right now the last wild card team is a 3-3 team. And yeah, you talk about the Bears, not a great team, definitely lost their starting quarterback, Justin Fields, in the game when Danielle Hunter knocked him out of the game with that thumb injury. But the Bears did go into Washington the week before on Thursday night and beat at that point, a winning Commanders team, and they won yesterday again. So Washington and the Bears beat them by 20. You never know what's going to happen in the NFL, but I think there were a lot of positives that come out, especially for the defense in the game on Sunday in Chicago, with the offense struggling, with Justin Jefferson missing his first game of what everybody hopes is only 4 games that he's out for on injured reserve. But the offense really struggled in the game. They had a bunch more drop balls. T.J. Hockenson, who had 3 drops in the Chiefs game, had another big drop. He had a costly penalty on a hold that negated a first down run by Madison. And during that second half, when the Vikings were having so much trouble staying on the field with time of possession, they only ended up with 25 minutes of time possession in this game. And that was a big penalty on Hockenson. There were other drops. Addison, that's a tough play for the rookie receiver on that diving catch, but he's open and the ball's off his hands. So you say you got to catch the ball. Earlier in the game when he had a chance to make a big play. Now, he did catch a touchdown pass at the end of the first half. That was a big play. And then Alexander Madison, who's had the dropsies all year, whether fumbling or dropping balls, had another drop pass in this game. So certainly the offense struggled. They could only run for 46 yards in this game after only 70 against Kansas City. Going into that San Francisco game, they're going to have to run the ball better against our really good defense, the number 1 defense last year in the league, number 3 this year. That's going to be a big challenge for the Vikings to get the running game going, to take the pressure off. And I think what we saw yesterday, AJ, was what other teams are going to copy. When Jefferson's out, they're going to put 8 in the box. They're going to stack the line of scrimmage to stop the run because they figure they can cover the Vikings receivers one-on-one. That's what the Bears' strategy was yesterday. It worked pretty well for them. They also blitzed effectively. And one of the interesting things this year, you talk about blitzing, and there's so much talk about Brian Flores' blitzing scheme. Well, and it did work certainly on the big plays in the game that we're going to see on our highlights very shortly here. But the Bears also had success blitzing, as Kansas City did. Mm-hmm. Now, the 49ers have such a great front four led by Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead. They don't really need to blitz. And that's going to be a big challenge next week. But first things first, and let's go to our highlights and relive the Vikings' second win of the season. Started a little slow. First half, not much going on. Although the Vikings did get an early drive and a long field goal. Greg Joseph had a good day. He's 2 for 3 from 50 plus in this game, including this 53-yarder in a windy stadium. Tough place to play.
Kick on the way, and it is good. Joseph remains perfect on the season.
So Greg Joseph, and I mentioned, as we heard on the highlights, that was Brandon Gaudin and Robert Smith, ex-Viking on the telecast for Fox. Robert, my old buddy, great guy. I'm happy to see him doing well at Fox. Our former star running back. And Joseph had another long field goal, 50-plus in this game. And then I thought where Kevin O'Connell made a mistake late in the third quarter, he had Joseph try a 57-yard field goal, and the Vikings were up 19-6 at that time. I think the better choice when the Bears are playing their backup quarterback, who had not done well at that point in time, they're a 13-point lead going against a backup quarterback. Just punt the ball, pin the Bears back inside their 10-yard line, make the rookie quarterback go 90 yards against you. Instead, he misses a 57-yard field goal, which is a tough kick in Chicago outside in the wind. And the Bears get the ball at the Vikings' 47-yard line. So I thought that was a bad decision that was made. But overall, I thought certainly the Vikings coaches acquitted themselves better than they have the last couple weeks, time in terms of managing timeouts, in terms of game management, getting play calls in, and so forth. But as we went forward in the game, and now we're into the second quarter, the Bears are able to make a big interception on a play where Cousins gets hit on a blitz. And talking about blitzing, he gets hit on this play.
He just sits and watches here as his offense goes back to work with a 1st and 10. Cousins under pressure just flips it. Hits a line ball.
Yeah, and that actually wasn't the interception, but that was actually the crazy backward lateral attempt by Cousins in the game that the Vikings were very fortunate to recover, or the Bears recovered, but they were out of bounds. So that was a very fortunate turn of events there. Then a true interception, a big pressure by Danielle Hunter, had a huge game in this particular Sunday with a couple of sacks, couple of quarterback hits, several pressures. He now is tied for the NFL lead with sacks, but on this particular play, puts the pressure on Justin Fields and forces this kind of jump ball that Jordan Hicks makes a nice over-the-shoulder catch.
Fields again from the gun. That one is lofted in the air, and it's intercepted. It is picked up by Jordan Hicks. Boy, Fields got his throw disrupted. The duck went into the air and into the hands of the 9th-year linebacker.
And as we see, only 1:47 left in the first half here, and the Bears are driving towards almost a sure lead at halftime with a field goal. Turns the ball over. The Vikings march down the field with their best offensive possession of the day, and on a 77-yard drive that's culminated by this 10-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Addison.
Cousins perfect on this drive so far. Looking in zone, caught! Touchdown! It's the rookie, Jordan Addison. And Minnesota grabs the lead late in the second quarter.
So the Vikings a nice turn of events, and now they're leading at halftime. The extra point was blocked on a bad protection. And then as we head into the second half, but first, let's talk about our great sponsor, GMC. GMC continues its commitment to professional-grade engineering, like offering the world's first available 6-function multi-pro tailgate on Sierra. This tailgate takes innovation to the next level with 6 distinct functions that let you load, unload, and access the cargo box quicker and easier. Or get behind the wheel of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty with an available Allison 10-speed transmission. The list goes on, but it's more than just innovative engineering. It's knowing GMC is committed to professional-grade excellence on every level. We are professional-grade GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra light-duty models, plus no monthly payments until 2024. See your select Minnesota GMC dealers. Length of contract limited, deferred monthly payments for 120 days, excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine, must finance with GM Financial, down payment required at signing, if applicable. Finance charges accrue from data financing. Some customers will not qualify, not available with lease, and some other offers take new retail delivery by 10/31/23. So, as we head into the second half, and here is another big play by the defense and by Danielle Hunter, who is just off to a great start this season, as I mentioned, with 8 sacks. And this particular play, 3rd and 7 play, a sack by Hunter, which knocks Justin Fields out of the game.
Needs 7 yards. He's got time, and now the pressure gets to him. He tried to flip it last second, but I think they're going to say he's down. Danielle Hunter.
And on that play, Jeff, it was later came out that it was a dislocated thumb for Justin Fields that didn't allow him to return. They don't know if he's going to need surgery or if he can just rehab it back to maybe miss a week or 2 at most. But yeah, not big play for Danielle Hunter and knocks the Bears starting quarterback out of the game.
Yeah, and it was a tough day for quarterbacks around the league. There were several big quarterback injuries. Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Josh Allen, they both came back in the game. Jimmy Garoppolo ended up in the hospital with a back injury. And the Raiders went over the Patriots. They're hopeful that's not too serious. And Daniel Jones and Deshaun Watson both missed the game. So I think it's one thing that Viking fans should appreciate a little bit more about Kirk Cousins, the fact of his durability, that he's never missed a start in his 12-year NFL career due to injury, which I think is a really amazing stat that is a tribute to his training, to his durability. We saw that in the next Netflix quarterback series, kind of the pain and suffering that he went through last year with a rib injury. So appreciate that Cousins is in the lineup, and he actually, I thought, had a really good game yesterday that could have been a lot better if the Vikings hang on to the ball, if they start catching the ball. He's ranked 6th in passer rating this season, a little over 100, and he's had 9 balls dropped in the last 2 weeks. So his rating would be a lot better if the Vikings can start catching the ball, and they better start doing it against the 49ers because you can't beat a team like that if you're not catching the ball, you're not making plays. And as we move forward with the highlights, and now the Vikings, the biggest play of the game, again, their defense delivers. The offense is struggling at this point in the second half. Josh Metellus on a blitz. He's a guy that's underrated. He was kind of a special teams ace over his first several seasons. All of a sudden, he ends up basically in the starting lineup in the 3-safety scheme of Brian Flores and has proven to be a pretty good blitzer. Not so great in coverage necessarily, but a really good blitzer and pretty good run stopper. And in this play, he blitzes, causes a fumble, a scoop and score for Jordan Hicks, who had a great game.
Pressure coming here, and the ball is out. It's still free, and the Vikings pick it up. Down the sideline goes Jordan Hicks, and Hicks is in for the scoop and score for the Minnesota Vikings.
And it's something to note there, Jeff, that coming in for Justin Fields is not maybe one of these like Andy Dalton or Sean Mannion type of backups. It is Tyson Bagent, who is a D2 undrafted quarterback.
Tyler Bagent. You don't even know his first name. That's how unknown he is. Yeah.
Was that planned? You'll have to. I'll leave you guessing on that one. But yeah, it's just like that's the type of plays that you expect the Vikings defense and Brian Flores to just eat up for once again, a undrafted Division II quarterback.
Yeah, it's amazing. Out of Shepherd University.
I'll give you $50 if you can tell me where that college is.
I was surprised to even know who this guy was, and which I guess goes to show the value of your backup quarterback, which not that the Vikings are in such great shape right now either, with Nick Mullins on injured reserve, and the rookie fifth-round pick is their number 2 quarterback. So Cousins, hopefully that durability continues. But the Vikings at this point up 19-6, a huge play. Jordan Hicks, he's also a guy who I thought was going to be a salary cap casualty this offseason, and it ended up being Eric Kendricks, not Jordan Hicks. And Hicks is really delivering with a very good season. Vikings up 13 points at this point. I mentioned the 57-yard field goal attempt, which then led to the Bears having much better field position, and then they score this touchdown on a quarterback sneak.
9th play of the drive with inside of 8 minutes left. Bajan on a sneak. No signal. They uncover the bodies, and they say touchdown. Tyson Bajan. First touchdown for the rookie.
Hey, you were right. It is Tyson, not Tyler.
Well, that's how unknown the guy is. You said Tyler. I'll pick it up and run with it.
Wow.
It could be Tevin. I don't care.
I got the wrong name. Okay. Good job, AJ. Anyway.
I'm a big Division II aficionado.
Yes, exactly. So now it's 19-13. Vikings offense goes 3 and out the whole second half, basically. I think 2 first downs the entire second half, putting more and more pressure on the defense. And then finally, it comes down to the Bears are driving in the last 2 minutes. But Byron Murphy, who I think has had a very shaky season over the first 5 weeks, in week 6 in Chicago, he delivered on that $9 million salary that the Vikings gave him as the number 1 corner. And he helped shut down DJ Moore, who had 230 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Commanders the week before. He held them to 5 catches for 51 yards. And as the primary guy in coverage on him. So that was very well done by Byron Murphy, and he kind of topped it off with this interception to seal the victory.
Coming up on the 2-minute warning, Bajan lets it fly, but it's a duck, and it's intercepted! Byron Murphy picked it off! Oh, then he fumbles it! And they're fighting for it right around the 45-yard line. But it is going to be Minnesota's football.
The ruling on the field is an interception, a fumble, and recovery by Minnesota.
Now, the
Just
one
a
thing,
fun sequence.
Yeah, the one thing I would recommend to Byron is kind of hang on to the ball after you intercept it in the final 2 minutes of a game. Maybe just go down or run out of bounds, because at that point, as long as you don't give a ball back to the Bears, the game's basically over. The Vikings needed 1 first down. They did pick up a big first down by Alexander Madison. Behind a block delivered, the offensive line had trouble during the day, but they finally got Dalton Reisner in the game when Cleveland got hurt, and he delivered the lead block on that 8-yard run by Madison for the first down that helped seal the win, close it out. Let's hear from Kevin O'Connell. Very excited about getting a road win against an NFC North opponent.
Being 1-0 in the division, a lot of things we can improve on as a football team, but the number one thing I wanted to see today was just our response, and I thought our defense was a great example of, regardless, what was going on in the football game, our lack of ability to move, our inability to move it in the second half. Offensively, they just never flinched. They made a bunch of big time plays. Jordan Hicks was tremendous. Byron Murphy, Josh Metellus, Daniil Hunter are just a few of the names that come to mind. They got off to a great start. They forced a bunch of negatives. We finally did win the turnover battle. And then, ultimately, able to get a big turnover there late by Byron to kind of seal that drive up and allow us to, get a first down and run that clock all the way out, essentially, on that sequence. Offensively, we got to be better. Didn't run it all that well today, didn't handle the movement, didn't handle a lot of the things we anticipated that we did see. And then in general, just a couple plays here and there in the past game. I thought Kirk played really clean, really efficient football. gave some guys some opportunities. Jordan down the sideline in the first half, a couple third downs there where we're just slightly off. We'll detail stuff up and continue to try to push forward. Proud of our group all together to get a win in the NFC North.
And Kirk Cousins, again, happy with the win.
Soldier Field has always been a tough place to play, and it was again today. I thought our defense was phenomenal all game long, making plays, putting points on the board, getting stops, forcing takeaways. And I thought their defense did a pretty good job against us. And we could have, should have, need to be much better on offense. Probably a combination of things there. And I think the second half especially, want to get more going in the second half. But it does feel really good to win on the road in the division. And Garrett Bradbury in the locker room pregame took a clip from the Texas Rangers and made sure that Creed got played before he went out in the field. And I felt like that may have made the difference. So we got that going for us.
What do you think, Jeff? Do you think it was them playing Creed before the game or the Bears having not a great team?
Perhaps a combination thereof. and wow, that's an interesting point to make by Kirk. Hey, whatever it takes is what I always said.
Yeah, if that's what they want to tell themselves.
Just get the W.
I will play Creed on repeat if that means they win more games.
That's right. And put chains on flights home. It's okay. Whatever works for you, Kirk.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter. Now, as we said, it was a defensive game, defensive heroes in the game. And let's hear from the two best defensive players in the game, starting with Jordan Hicks.
It's always something interesting, though, when you come here, first of all, playing the Bears, coming to Soldier Field. There's a lot of craziness going on. How did you guys keep it all settled?
Honestly, we didn't even feel it. It was, at the end of the day, it was about us and the message of responding, to the season, to adversity in the game that was to come, and having that mindset. So we focused on ourselves.
Did you call Josh off, or did he call to you? Did you really reach him there? Kind of it was smooth.
No, it just happened. Just happened. So glad it happened the way it did. Right.
What was so effective throughout the day, just causing problems for both of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, we were switching the looks up. Flo's always got a great plan, and so he called it great. Getting him to third down, that was big, and then making the plays that gave to us. Right, there were opportunities out there, and every week there's been opportunities, and we haven't capitalized on these defense. And so that went into the message that we focused on this week, and we're able to do it.
And Danielle Hunter, who the Vikings would be wise to get his contract extended as soon as possible before he ends up leading the NFL in sacks and maybe he's the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Danielle, a big day, as we said earlier, with the 2 sacks and several big pressures.
Just talking to DJ, too, how important it was to make your statement early on defense, and he did that. He started you guys up.
Yeah, he did. The biggest thing for us on defense was to go out there and start fast, and that's exactly what we did. And just staying tuned in on our jobs and everything we do out there.
What was the big difference, too, when Fields went out? You got, Bajan, a guy you guys have never faced coming in.
Stick with the game plan. The biggest thing in a football game is to affect the quarterback, and that's one thing that we try to do whenever they swap them out.
And it just seems it wasn't only one guy making big plays, right? Yeah, Byron Murphy, then you also had Hicks. I mean, it was one of those big days for the defense.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm proud of the way the defense played today. Give it up to Flo for putting us in the right position to make plays. That's what he does. That's what we bring to the table. Guys are going to be in different positions, to their strengths, just making plays.
And before we talk about what happened yesterday around the NFL and look ahead to Week 7 in the NFL, including the Vikings 49ers on Monday night in a big matchup at US Bank Stadium, should be a great atmosphere down there. Let's hear from GMC.
GMC continues its commitment to professional-grade engineering in the GMC Truck Series, like offering the world's first available 6-function multi-pro tailgate on Sierra. Try the GMC Canyon with powerful and innovative features engineered and built for all your adventures to come. Or get behind the wheel of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty with an available Allison 10-speed transmission. The list goes on, but it's more than just innovative engineering. It's knowing GMC is committed to professional-grade excellence on every level. We are professional grade. GMC. Well-qualified buyers step up to GMC with 0.9% APR on 2023 Sierra Light Duty models. Plus, no monthly payments until 2024. See your local GMC dealer today. Length of contract limited. Deferred monthly payments for 121 days. Excludes residents of Pennsylvania and Maine. Must finance with GM Financial. Down payment required at signing if applicable. Finance charges accrue from data financing. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/2/23.
So there are no more unbeaten teams in the NFL. As we mentioned earlier, the 49ers get upset in Cleveland. Had a chance at the winning field goal, couldn't deliver. It was Brock Purdy's first regular season loss after 10 straight wins to start his career, and he had a rough game, only 12 of 27 threw an interception, his first interception of the season. So that might help the Vikings' confidence on defense to think that, hey, this guy might be beatable, the 49ers, and they come out of that game in Cleveland against the number one Browns defense with two big injuries to star players on their offense. Christian McCaffrey left with an oblique injury, Deebo Samuel with a shoulder. We'll have to see how things progress for them during the week. They'll have that extra day to get ready for the Monday night game. But if they're missing those two guys, that's a big loss for that offense. But they've still got plenty of talent on that 49er team, a great offensive line. Brandon Ayuk is an excellent receiver. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league, still have a good running game. And Purdy had a rough day in Cleveland, but we'll see how he can bounce back. That 49er defense, very formidable, as we've said, number one in the league last year. They're a tough foe, and I think it's going to be a big, big challenge for the Vikings offensively to move the ball against them. The Philadelphia Eagles also were upset at the Jets in their game. Jalen Hurts uncharacteristically had a really rough day, 3 interceptions, and so the Eagles also 5-1 on the season. Kind of sets up a really interesting matchup in Week 7 for the Eagles, who will host Miami on Sunday night. And you talk about the Eagles secondary is banged up now, having some injury problems. Miami comes in with their potent passing attack with Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Going to be an interesting game. As we said, the 49ers are here against the Vikings. Someone's got to stop the Detroit Lions, though.
Yeah, right.
They had an easier than expected time in Tampa Bay against the Bucs, who were leading the NFC South, and the Lions rolled in that game 20-6. Got all over Baker Mayfield. They held the Bucs to only 2 field goals, 251 yards. Jared Goff threw for 353 and 2 touchdowns. Now the Lions have a tough matchup this coming Sunday in Baltimore against the 4-2 Ravens, who lead the AFC North. So that could be the time where the Lions start to go down a hair. We'll see if the Ravens can do it with Lamar Jackson and company in Baltimore. And I think some other interesting games coming up in Week 7. The Packers, after their bye week, will be at Denver. The Broncos are pretty dismal, so we'll see if Jordan Love can bounce back from his bad performance in Vegas. And the Chargers are at Kansas City. That's an interesting game in the AFC West. So the Vikings, 49ers will be back next week to break it all down in terms of that matchup. I think the Vikings need to run the ball better, as we said, when you looked at a 2.1-yard rushing average against Chicago. But these teams without Jefferson, they're going to creep up on the line of scrimmage. I'm sure the 49ers will have a similar type of a plan of attack with great linebacker and Fred Warner and great front four. Going to be a very big challenge for the Vikings this week, going against San Francisco, a Final Four team last year. I think a big emphasis this week for Kevin O'Connell will be to win a home game. They've lost their first 3 home games this season, all to playoff teams from last year in the Bucs, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. And the 49ers are another playoff team from last year, another big challenge for them. And so we will look forward to talking next week and breaking it all down when the Vikings meet the 49ers on Monday night, and our show will be Tuesday night next week, just a reminder. So this has been Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday and next week on Tuesday during the Viking season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers on 1500 ESPN, available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. This is Jeff Diamond with AJ Fredrickson. Everybody have a good week, and we will talk to you next Tuesday.